pen rights away, so I wouldn't file any more motions. But he also alluded to, it's pretty wild what's happening right now. It's kind of what happens, though, when the legislature doesn't write the law. He's alluding to the voter initiative. And he's a prosecutor formerly, and he's a judge, and, federalist probably, and shout out to Schuyler, by the way. And Dewey, we didn't do the shout out to Dewey, and we didn't shout to Schuyler, anybody else that's coming. Anyways, so as we're doing this, he is...
we didn't introduce T-Pain.
I'm sorry. T-Pain's here, too. I'm sorry. T-Pain's here. I'm getting to the bottom of the story because we got all kinds of stuff, but what he said was, and I couldn't keep it quiet, was, it's a poorly written law. Right. You hear this all over and over. And I said, I can't leave it alone. I'm like, it's over. I don't need to talk. Whatever I say doesn't matter. I can nod my head and walk away. And I said, you know what? There's a little bit of politics involved in it, too. He's like, yeah, I had to leave it like that. And I'm like, but...
That's a great point.
What's that? It's terribly written if you've got no investment in training the law enforcement or the people that are going to enforce the law that it's any different than regular marijuana. I've yet to see one dime, despite these grants for medical marijuana training, which seems to go to body bags to hold the plants and, grenade launchers and evidence bags and
all
things
the
like
things
that.
You need, yeah.
Never have I seen... I've yet to ask a drug enforcement officer or narcotics drug task team, you have any training in medical marijuana other than investigating patients and caregivers? Zero. No.
Zero.
You ever talk to a patient that was sick? No. Do you know what kind of the amounts they need to treat their serious? No. Do you even have an idea what it takes to make a gram of, I don't know. It's but here we stand with this that being the okay. The lack of, oops, that's not usable. I discovered a thing this week, which is the distinction of what is usable marijuana and how in a law enforcement's training it means processed marijuana. They do not discern the difference when there's a completely different legal definition of usable, not usable. You know what I mean? Anything that comes off the plant is processed and usable. But that's not the law, right? There's a plant and then there's processed marijuana. I also found out that all the drug task forces, when they seize marijuana, you know what they do? Guess. They dry it. Yeah. Sure they do. They do it. Anyways. All right, so
what happens if you don't dry it?
It gets moldy and becomes
unusable.
That's what happens.
All right, so what's this show about? I can't read this first. Here's my glasses. Seriously, what does that say? Someone read that into there. It says, Josh, what does it say? Something about Josh?
The police department should really apply for a
Rant,
micro business license.
short breath.
Yeah.
Menthol.
We'll take a quick break. Quick break, and then we'll come back. Jim will alert us when we should get excited again.
We'll alert.
Until then, we will remain stoic. We'll be right back. Planet Green Juice, episode 371.
We ate them. They're so good.
It's been a mighty long time.
Let the bad time.
Doesn't matter what I'm saying, yeah. As long as I sing with inflection, makes you feel like a man, yeah. So may not you stop past reflection, but I see nothing so far. But I could keep it up as long as it takes, and it don't matter who you are. 'Cause if I'm doing my job, it's your result that breaks. 'Cause the heart brings you back. Yeah. I ain't telling you no lie. The heart brings you back. Oh, that you can rely. There is something I miss. I ain't being insincere. In fact, I don't mean any of this. So my confession, you're too near. Diffuse the issue only for familiar hero from long ago. No matter how much beat I love, made the pen refuse to go. Was that the heart bring you back? I ain't telling you no lie. The heart brings you back. Oh, that you can rely. Suck-a-ding, suck-a-ding, ring-a-ding, rambling. Make a desperate move on as you win, and then begin to see what you're doing to me. This young to be is not for free. It's a piece is killing me. So desperately I sing to the other love. Sure, but also raging hate and pain and fear of self. But I can keep these feelings on the shelf. I tried, with no fact I lied. Could be financial suicide, but I've got too much pride inside to hide. A slide, assumes all the side, and let it run until I've died. And only then should I bite this side of catchy little tunes. I think the titties. I wanna bust all your moves. I wanna burn out all your CDs to the ground. I found I will not mess around unless I play. Then hey, I will have gone all day. Here I would have nothing to say. Between all this works, I would have feeling stuck in a bucket alone and locked because the heart brings you back. I ain't telling you no lie. No. Oh, that you can't
Alrighty, we're back. Thanks for staying with us. You're officially listening to episode 371 of Planet Green Trees. And if you don't already know, we are a medical marijuana and marijuana reform internet radio show. Been talking about this stuff for 8 or 9 years. Should have been over by now.
What the hell?
It used to just be a gathering. Now we feel incumbent upon the world to spread the message. And I want to talk a little bit about this tonight. Let's start by, I understand we're supposed to have our candidate from the is going to be our Attorney General. But one of the things that has really been distressing is even within the Democratic Party, and I think it's an important topic in today's world. And let me just play the first video. It's been revealed that the other candidate running for Attorney General, who is currently the U.S. Attorney in the Western District, is campaigning around, and as Dana had said at one of the events we were at, by me being in the race and talking about it like I am, it forces the other candidates to talk about it. So what are the other candidates saying in the Democratic Party about medical marijuana? And this is U.S. Attorney for the Western District appointed by...
I don't need to
Hold on.
Promise or talk about things that I'll do. I have a record. I've
So
been
what
a
is-
United States Attorney for 5 years.
And when you were U.S. Attorney, did you pursue any marijuana cases
We had a policy.
contrary to the state policy?
We had a policy.
If you didn't hear what the question was, he's at a seminar, a public speaking event, and he's being asked questions whether or not, as a U.S. Attorney, whether he prosecuted medical marijuana cases that were against state policy. And here's his answer.
Policy that if someone was in compliance with the state, we would not bring that case, except if somebody was trafficking in other drugs like heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, and then they had marijuana as well as part of their distribution business, then we would add the marijuana in the count, and we wouldn't necessarily accept the fact that they were in compliance with the Medical Marijuana Act.
Okay.
You know,
So let's just
I'm
be
not
clear-
going to vote for him because every time he talks, there's creepy background music.
He's
Did
a
you
liar.
hear that?
He's a liar. And the problem is he's going around to local Democratic clubs right now spewing this nonsense.
Well, first of all, we're not even at the nonsense yet. You can talk more because you're going to comment on the nonsense.
Okay.
I want to just point out here that we know that this isn't true. The question he was asked is, as a U.S. Attorney, did you prosecute persons against state policy? As a U.S. Attorney, he said, never, except or unless, specifically, they were trafficking or in the business of other serious drugs such as heroin, methamphetamine, or coke. And marijuana was one of the drugs, and they didn't buy that the marijuana. And it wouldn't anyways. It could still, even if it was the case. But that's what he says. And then, what's the truth? What do we know? This is not true is what we really know. And why is that?
I had 13 indictments against me, and it was just terrifying. 100 years in prison and $100 million in fines.
And just if people don't know, and this is a person whose family's called in the show, we've highlighted it. Sharmi is extremely close with the family and has heard, unfortunately, the details of the just outrage of the Drug Task Force raid and what it did to their family as medical marijuana caregivers. This is what was known in Michigan as the Lansing 7?
Okemos 7.
Okemos 7. Several other people that were in compliance with state law were prosecuted. And no, Mr. What's his name? Miles?
And
There was no other drugs such as methamphetamine, cocaine, or heroin that was involved.
And they were compliant with state law.
And Patrick Miles signed the
Under
warrants.
federal law, marijuana is illegal, period, as you know.
He had 3 attorneys.